Hi friends, I'm super excited to be here with you today to share a new layout for Hip Kit that I made using this awesome mood board challenge that's going on. I did take inspiration from the umbrellas and the shapes of the umbrellas and the colors that were in there and in some of those photos. So here I'm creating a layout using that inspiration. I cut a bunch of triangles and they measure 4 inches long. And I just used the Cricut software to create those elongated triangles and then cut them out of lots of different pattern papers that are in the main kit this month. And then I also threw in the pink is from the cardstock kit just so that I had a good combination of colors that match all of the embellishments. So the rest is pattern paper from that main kit. And then I did use a scratch piece of just white paper to be able to adhere down those triangles as I was going. I wanted to lift all of them up, but I didn't want to lift them up individually one by one on craft foam. So I found a scratch piece of paper to adhere them to first, and then I'm going to put craft foam behind the entire thing. And that is going to create that kind of umbrella look or just a fun circle. So with flat edges around. All right, so that's kind of where it's going to go. I'm going to go ahead and trace around before I adhere it down. I'm going to trace around so I can add some color behind it, of course. And then I'm just taking some notes on the colors that are in each section so that I can add some mixed media behind there and coordinate those colors. So I did pull all the colors from past color kits. So that first color that I'm using here is Bahama Mama. It's a Shimmers from one of the past color kits. And then the next one, these are all from Shimmers paints. Some of them are Shimmers and some of them are Inklings. This next color is Naughty and Nice. And it's a pink that it kind of coordinated with the color, that pattern paper that's in between there. It's kind of hard to tell in the video, but it is between a pink and an orange. It's kind of like a pinky orange. So I used the Naughty and Nice. It's a little redder, but it was a good mix between the orange and the pink. So I used that. And then the next one that I used was the Shimmer, or I think it's actually an Inklings, Cantaloupe. I am running low on it, so the color was a little diluted. So I did pull out one of the Catherine Pooler inks that was from a past kit, Tiki Torch, and I just pulled a little ink there to mix in with that color to make it a little bit oranger to match the pattern paper. And then the yellow is Sunny. It's a Sunny Shimmers, and then the green is Slow Ocean. And then I'm using the Cantaloupe again, and it's going to be covered up, so I didn't take the time to add in more orange tones because it's going to be covered up pretty much all the way by my photos. And then I started again with the Bahama Mama. And then the purpley pink is Beats Me. So if you were using it with pinks, it would probably lend itself to pink. If you were using it with purples, it leans purple. So it's one of those colors. It's a super good transitional color. Then that navy blue, there was a lot of navy in the mood board challenge. So I wanted to make sure and create something that had that darker blue in it. So that is La Peace Dance. And then the lighter blue is Ride the Tide. So I used all those colors. If you have been purchasing the color kits for a while, you have all of those colors in your collection. And then here I'm just adding some craft foam. This is cheap craft foam from my local craft store. And I add my own adhesive. I'm going to put that down so that those colors are tone on tone. And then I did distress the edges of each of the triangles before I adhered them down with my Tim Holtz edge distressor. So I just roughed them up. You could do it with scissors, the edge of a scissors if you don't have the edge distressor, but that makes it a lot simpler. So I distressed those edges, and then once they were down where I knew they were going to go, I did kind of ruffle them up just a little bit to add a little more texture. And then my photos, I've got 3 photos. I'm finishing out or still working through my Jamaica trip. So I have 3 photos from a day we spent at the beach, which was perfect for kind of an umbrella looking layout and a travel layout. There's lots of great travel ephemera and pieces here in the kits, the July kits this month. Or June, sorry, this is the June kits. So this that I'm cutting out right now, this is one of the fabric stickers. It's a globe and it's fabulous. I love the sticker. I love how it feels. I love how it looks on the layout. The texture of the fabric stickers is fantastic. So I did adhere it down to a piece of white cardstock because I wanted to be able to pop it up, but I wasn't going to be able to put craft foam behind all those teeny tiny little pieces, and I didn't want them to stick down later once I put it down in the book. So I adhered it all the way down to a piece of white cardstock and then cut it out so that I could just have adhesive on the sections that I wanted it on. It's got a lot of really good adhesive on the back, so I knew it was going to stick if I didn't do that. And so I put that right in the middle of the umbrella, and then, which really on the final layout, it doesn't even look like an umbrella. It just looks like a fun like pinwheel of color, but that was the intention, the original intention. So I am going to go ahead. I'm adding some layers using one of the chipboard frames and one of the tags from the ephemera sets back there behind my photo. So I went ahead and I'm going to go ahead and put that down first just because it'll be harder once my photo's down. I'm going to add some craft foam here. And then I am going to add one little strip for the piece that hangs off of that circle of color because it already has craft foam behind it. I knew I needed to add one more little strip of paper on the part that's hanging off to kind of make it all one even flat layer. So that's why you saw me add another little piece there. And then those chipboard pieces, Happy, that's from one of the sets of chipboard in the kits, the June kits. I think it's in the ephemera kit. And I love those letters. The font is fabulous. And the colors are great. They coordinate perfectly, of course, with the patterned paper, so I love that. So my title is going to end up being Happy Adventure. That's going to come in just a second here. This piece that I'm putting down on top of the photo, it says Together. And then I used one of the little chipboard pieces that's got like colorful little arrows in it that coordinate with the colors of the pattern paper that I used. So it's going to sit up next to the word Together. So it's kind of like pointing to it, sitting on top of the photos. So that's going to go there. And I did distress the edges of that word Together before I adhered that down. And then the gold glitter foam, those are foam stickers. So I just pulled off the word adventure. So the title is Happy Adventure. I did add just a touch of my own adhesive for long-term storage. And then I'm going to start building some clusters. We'll add that little pink frame at the top. Trimmed off the pieces I didn't need and just have the parts that are going to show. I thought about adding that word explore, like Happy Adventure, and then explore, but I didn't end up using that. I didn't like how it looked. I will add that gold glitter globe right there. And then I'm going to pull out this piece of pattern paper and I fussy cut. I didn't keep that on camera. So you just saw the piece of paper, and then off camera, I fussy cut a lot of flowers out of it, which just means I went and trimmed out a whole bunch of cut out a bunch of flowers from the paper. And I will use those to build some clusters, one at the top right of the photos, and then this little cluster down at the bottom left. I also added one of the layered stickers. So in the kits, in the beautiful June kits, there is a set of multi-layered stickers, which I love those. So down below the photos, to the kind of bottom right of the photo, I have a heart there. It's a patterned heart. It's got like black or blue little polka dots, and it says together across the top. So that definitely sits up above the page and gives great dimension. So I added all those flowers at the bottom, and now I'm going to work on a little cluster for the top. You saw that I cut off all of when I cut out the flowers from the pattern paper, I do trim off all the white edges, make sure it's close, cut very closely to the image. And then I curled up the petals and the leaves so that it looks like they're kind of growing out of my page. I love how that looks. And I just trimmed out some more flowers as I needed them. It doesn't take but a second to cut it out and trim the edges off. I do use, those are Tim Holtz scissors, and they're very sharp and very sharp points at the end of them, so it makes fussy cutting really simple to have a pair of scissors like that. And then my flowers in the clusters are popped up on craft foam, several different layers or levels of craft foam, so that the flowers are not flat on that background. Tucked in some leaves and some little bits and pieces. So here I'm going to add, these are buttons from that same chipboard set that the word happy came out of. And I think the frames came out of, I think it's all from the same set of chipboard. It was great. Love that set. So the little buttons I'm going to kind of tuck into the floral clusters, and I do add, before I adhere it down, I will add some thread to the centers of those. And the floral clusters, I do love how it looks to kind of, especially when they're going to be tight to your photos. And I always try to do them tight around the photos just because it draws your eye to the photo to have all of that beautiful, beautiful flowers and foliage on your paper. But I do love how it looks to layer some behind and some on top of the photo if you have space, if it doesn't take away from the image on the photo. So for example, that pink flower on the bottom, I layered on top of the photo so that it kind of looks like my cluster is growing, on top of and around that photo. And the only thing in the photo that really matters is my husband and me, so it didn't cover anything up to layer that on top. Added a few more little bits here. I'm working on the button right now, adding that thread. So I went ahead and adhered that down once the thread was added. And I did try to kind of coordinate the colors that I was using. So I had already used that dark navy on the pattern paper triangle, and then the P and the word happy. And so I was kind of trying to, and then also that chipboard frame. So I was kind of trying to make sure that I had some of that color all around the page. So I added some thread on that yellow button. Added some navy thread to tie in that color up there in that cluster. Because that was definitely a color that stood out to me in the mood board. And then here I'm adding just some little bows, some little threaded bows to little tag pieces that I have coming out of the photos. So I just made sure all the thread colors that I was using around the page coordinated with the colors of the pattern paper and the mood board. And then here what I'm doing is these are little arrows that were on the gold glittered foam sticker sheet. So I love those. I have them pointing to the globe that's in the middle of the layout. And then these are just some little dots that I'm adding. So just some little circles of glitter for a little more sparkle. I did pull off and try to see if I wanted to add a few more little fabric stickers, but I did not end up adding those. I am going to add some gold acrylic paint. So this came in the color kit this month, the June color kit, or the month that I'm using. Sorry, it's July right now, but I'm using the June kit. So this is the gold acrylic paint that came in the color kit for the June kit. And I just added a touch, like a little spray of water, and then I used it for splattering. I love gold acrylic paint to use as splatters because it kind of gives a little shimmer and shine to your layout, and it's super easy to do. So I just covered up my photos with a piece of scratch paper before I did that to make sure I didn't get any gold paint on the photos. And there is the still shots of my layout. I hope you enjoyed the process. If you have any questions, be sure and add them down in the comments and I will answer them. And you can subscribe to the Hip Kit channel, tap the bell for notifications, and I hope you will participate in the mood board challenge over on the Facebook group. Have a great day, guys. Bye.